Have you ever dropped a plugin on your mix and thought to yourself, what is this plugin actually doing? I've come across this tool called EQ Analyser2 by a company called Ableton, and what this does, it shows you the EQ curve of your plugin. So why is this useful? It's a great way for you to learn and understand your plugins. Now, if you've been watching my last video, I've been talking about how I've been really doubling down on understanding what I'm doing when I'm mixing, what the plugins are doing that I'm adding to my mix. And by using EQ Analyser2, this has been really helpful. I'm going to show you what this plugin can do, how to set it up, and I'm going to show you what some of our favorite plugins are actually doing on our mix. Yeah, a lot of engineers are going to say, you're supposed to use your ears when you mix, not your eyes. That's true. But if you're like me and you like to see things visually, then this is a very helpful and useful tool. So while those who say you should use your ears, they forgot that there was once amateurs or once learning about the plugins that they're using. And this, like I said, this is a great way to learn and understand what you're doing with your plugins. So let me show you how to set this up and just run you through the actual EQ itself. So you need to open up two instances, one above the plugin that you're trying to analyze and one underneath the plugin that you're analyzing. Reason being is because the top one's going to send a signal through the plugin, and the second one you're going to be able to see the readings. So we're going to open up two instances and boom, there you have it. So this is EQ Analyser2. You can resize it to quite big, full screen. That's cool. Or you can make it really small, or you can make it really long. It's entirely up to you. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the top here. I don't really bother with that. If that's your bag, go for it. But I'm just going to show you the basics of how to use this plugin. So here you can see the green line, nothing's going on. It's just a straight line and 0 dB. So I'll open up, let's say, the end console. Click on the end console, you can see bump in the low end and a small bump in high end. 1 dB boost, 54 Hertz. Nice curve. 0.5 dB. So that's interesting on its own. Turn that off. Let's bring up the UAD Pultec EQ. Over the years, I've heard a lot of engineers talk about the low end boost and the dip that the attenuation does. For a newbie to hear it, you're thinking, okay, cool, but what is actually going on with the sound? Because some might not be able to hear exactly what's going on. So this is a great way to understand and see what's going on. That way you can marry the two. Next time you open a plugin and you make a few tweaks, you know what's going on. So turn the plugin on. Straight away, you notice there's a boost by 1.1 dB. So now, you know, when you open up the UAD Pultec EQP1A, there's a slight boost in volume. You might hear it, you might not, but at least now you understand that's what's going on. So when we boost the low end at 100 Hertz, you can see the shelf, the boost, 5 dB. Now you get a visual representation of what that boost is doing. So let me just bring that down a touch, a bit wild, that boost. That's on 100 Hertz. Let's change it to 60, 30, 20. So you can see the changes happening. Then we've got the attenuation, which I spoke about earlier, the dip and how everyone like raves about the boost and the attenuation of the Pultec. So let's see what happens. So we do some attenuation and you notice, take that down a bit, boost that a bit, so you can see it properly. So that's 100. Then this is 60. That's 30. That's 20. See, for me, that's interesting because you might not necessarily hear what's happening. You can feel it. You might think that you're changing it in a different place, but now that you can see it, I'm getting too excited. But now you can see it and what it's really doing to the boost and the attenuation. So let's boost the high end of this Pultec. So we boost some high end, 3 kilohertz, 4, 5, 8, 10. Then you can see when you use the bandwidth, the shape of the curve, how narrow sharp is. And then you've got the attenuation and what that's doing. So you might not necessarily use the plugin, use the EQ curve analyzer at the same time that you're mixing, but you can. That's what I've been doing, is just when I'm mixing and I add a new plugin, I want to see what that new plugin's doing to the signal. So useful. So let's have a look at the ATR 102. See what's happening there. As soon as you turn that on, there's a boost. This is default. It's boosting 27 Hertz by 3 dB. And then you've got a nice little shelf, little ramp there. It looks like a bell curve. And then you've got like a little boost here at the low end, the top end, which you might not necessarily hear when you turn it on, like I keep saying. Then let's try different calibrations, different tapes. Got your GP9, you can see the differences and what it's doing to the signal. Your calibrations. Your tape. See, that's 1-inch tape, and look what it's done to the top end, the low end, sorry. That's 1/2-inch tape, and that's a 1/4-inch tape. Look how much it's boosted the high end with 9-inch tape on, nice calibration with 250 tape, 1-inch. So it's really cool to see. Like, for example, the GP9 and the 250, like the difference in the high end. If you, for example, you needed a bit more high end in your vocal and you didn't want to use an actual EQ, you can just use the tape machine. You can use the Ampex ATR 102 because you know that that's what it's going to do. Love it. So that's the Ampex ATR 102, and then we've got, let's have a look at the compressor. This is interesting, very interesting. As soon as you turn on I'm going to change the size of this so you can see it. So flat response, turn it on, and you can see it's boosted by 1.5 and 1 dB. Now you can see 2 lines there, which is your, as far as I know, it's your left and right signal. So you can see that there's a difference already just by looking at it. So you can kind of cheat and train your ears to know that what you're hearing, okay, that's what I'm hearing. Slight shift. I wasn't going mad. Then we have a slight roll off, which is nice. Then if you change, let's just change the circuitry. I forget what it's called, circuitry. So you've got still. Then you've got the iron. And you've got nickel. So nickel, there's a little roll off on nickel. Iron, slightly different to still. So what happens if we bring this volume down? The gain of the plugin, and yeah, we can get it to the 0 dB line. So recently I've been dropping the Shadow Hills Class A on vocals, and when you drop it on, when I've dropped it on, it feels like the vocal is more present, there's more body. Now I know that it's actually, it is boosting the gain, but in a pleasing way, nice to the ear. So let me give you another example. The RC20 retro color. I've got this mix that I worked on with an artist, and the original mix was okay. I've learned a lot since doing that mix. So I've gone back to it with some of the new techniques that I've learned and stuff, and I've put the EQ analyzer on the main bus, which is my pre-fader, just to see what's going on with the plugins that I'm using. And it's interesting because I watched a video talking about the RC20 and how that can add a bit of analog life to your mixes. So I added it in and wanted to see what the EQ Analyser2 told me that the plugin is doing, or showed me what the plugin's doing. So I tweaked the RC20 to how I wanted it to sound for the mix. And I'm going to show you what the RC20 is doing. So without the RC20, the mix sounds, for me, sounds flat. It sounds a little bit flat, like it could do with a little bit more life. And I want to show you what the RC20 does to the mix. Yeah, let me show you. So here's the mix without the RC20.
Listening, gotta listen up. Every man on the road, they be sticking up. Really getting busy, it gets sticky for the Lizzie. You be really in your city, but the city ain't big enough, no. And I ain't on no road, see man go down for the same postcodes that they started. Swear it's so jarring. And I got dreams, man, I wanna be an artist. Didn't wanna lose any moment in the booth, so I told bro, grab the...
Okay, so let me show you what the EQ Analyzer is doing. This is the EQ curve of the plugins that I'm using, all of them put together. So there's some boost, and there's like a nice slope and a bit of a boost at the high end. So as you can see, there's a slight wobble here, but when I put the RC20 on, it just goes crazy. And that's with just a little bit of noise, bit of wobble, a little bit of distortion, and just using the magnetic tool. I've turned the magnitude down to 30%. I turn that off, there's not much going on. What it does, it adds some imperfections to the signal, which gives it a little bit more of an analog feel, like I've been using Outboard. And by using this EQ Analyser 2, I can see what's going on. I like the way it sounds, what it's doing to the sound, to the mix. But now I get a visual representation of what's going on. So next time you're doing your mix and it seems a bit flat, you know that you can go to a plugin that you know, because you run it through the EQ Analyser 2 just to see how it plays around with the signal. So if we boost the wobble, and I've got that on 14%, you're going to hear it. You're definitely going to hear it, but to see it, it just confirms what's going on. So like I said earlier, if you're looking to up your game when it comes to understanding your plugins, and you might not necessarily want to read the manual, but I'll say read the manual as well. Get this plugin on there as well. See it, read about it, listen, use your ears. And that way you just got like a real broad understanding of what's going on with your mixes, with your plugins, and it's just going to make you a better mixer. Can't remember if I mentioned earlier, the plugin's free. You can make a donation, any amount that you want. When you go to the website, just put the amount that you want to spend on the plugin, get that in your tools and just get using it. Appreciate you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Appreciate you've watched with me. So yeah, appreciate you for watching, peeps.